Hey everybody, number 32 on the Criterion Collection, Oliver Twist, again by David Lean, again from the United Kingdom, 2 years later in 1948. Another Charles Dickens adaptation, and David Lean's last, which is kind of a shame. The guy has a good talent for making these classics approachable. I have not read this one either. Listen, I read, all right? If I showed you the pile of books I am working my way through, you would lose your minds. It takes up an entire table upstairs. It's like 8 stacks of books, about this high each. It's wild. I read constantly. I find some of the older classics a little harder to approach because of the formality of the language and blah, blah. Reading the classics to me often feels like homework rather than fun, even though I'm in my 40s and haven't been in school in quite some time. So I haven't. This is, for me, a great way to become acquainted with some of the points. Now, of course, they trim them down to fit them in, and in particular, apparently, this movie changes the ending somewhat of Oliver Twist, because there's a big confrontation on the roof of Fagin's place that does not happen in the book, I guess. But supposedly, it's so iconic in this film that people now often remember that scene being in the book when it's not. It's the story of Oliver Twist, right? Again, I'm going to pick on Charles Dickens, and I don't mean to, but it's the exact same critique, because essentially the plot revolves around the idea that all the characters are related to each other. Like, there's a deeper conspiracy, and the solution is a little deus ex machina, because it turns out these two people who you have no reason to be related are actually related, and that saves the day, which was also what happened in Great Expectations, where everybody turned out the secret was they all knew each other. But fine. It's a perfectly decent story. It's an orphan boy who, is in a really bad orphanage, and then a bad living environment, and then calls in with a group of thieves when he runs away from home, and in the end finds a home. I mean, that's kind of the arc. I want to say the cinematography in this film is actually very good. I liked this movie. You should see the movie. It's good. Cinematography... It's easy to spot bad cinematography when it happens. Decent cinematography is hard to notice because it blends in. You don't notice it. It's like if the air in your house smells fine, you don't think about it, right? You notice if it smells bad, and you notice if it smells really good. But if it's fine, you never think about it because it's just there. That's what decent cinematography is, and that's what a lot of films have, is decent cinematography. There is some good cinematography here. There are some great shots. There's a shot early on when Oliver is approaching. He lost the drawing the sticks, and he has to go and ask for more gruel from the people running this orphanage. And as he approaches them, the camera angle is up. I am convinced the adults, because it shoots between the shoulders of two adults. So my face is the camera here, and these are the two adults. I am convinced these two adults are standing on something so that the camera can be even higher to look down on Oliver as he approaches. But what it does is it frames his powerlessness, because you are looking down on him as he approaches these giant people to ask for more food. It's a simple shot, but it's very well done. There's a lot of panning and tilting movements that are just precision quality. I liked the movie. I liked the way it was shot. I wish David Lean would do more classics, but this is it. He did these 2 Dickens movies, and then he went on to do other great stuff. With this movie, David Lean actually becomes tied for the author we've seen the most, at 3 movies, because he did Summertime and then these 2. Tied for and I'd have to look up his name, I'm sorry, but tied for the Japanese director who did the Samurai trilogy. So that's just a neat bit of information. I don't have a lot more to say. It's very good. Oh, Sir Alec Guinness is back. He plays Fagin. And there's a lot of controversy on Fagin's portrayal in this film, but there's also a lot of controversy about how Fagin was written in the books. Charles Dickens, Fagin is I don't want to say stereotypical, because he is a negative connotation caricature of Jews, right? Cartoonishly big nose, greedy affect, money grubbing, and apparently in the original Oliver Twist, he's called the Jew more than he's called by his name. And eventually, Charles Dickens felt bad about this and made revisions after revisions to remove references to him being Jewish. But they created art based off the character, and then in this movie they used prosthetics and makeup to make Alec Guinness match the artwork. At no point in this movie do they refer to him as Jewish, but the caricature is well known enough that there was a lot of controversy and debate as to how are we going to do this. Are we actually going to go and are we going to go full Jew on this horrible caricature? And they did. But they never call him Jewish. They never address him as a Jew. So he's just kind of a ugly looking person if you don't know the deeper context. But again, Sir Alec Guinness, and he does a good job. He's unrecognizable. He does not look like Obi-Wan Kenobi. He does not sound like Obi-Wan Kenobi. He does an impressive job, but I guess sensitivity warning, if that's something that's likely to really upset you, it's in here. It's a product of its time, and I don't think any sane person will applaud the representation in this case, but it is what it is. It didn't overly bother me, but I was relieved to find out that there was a lot of discussion about it, deciding what to do and being careful with their word choices. At least they were aware of the problem. That helps. Anyway, our next movie is purported to be, and I say that because I haven't done the research and I'm not going to research it, purported to be the first feature-length anthropological documentary. It is from 1922 from the United States, directed by Robert Flaherty. And I feel like we've all heard this name, but I don't think most of us have seen the movie. It is Nanook of the North, a documentary about the... okay, sorry. It's in Alaska. My brain paused because in America, we call them Native Americans, right? In Canada, they call them Inuit. Because Eskimo, I believe, is a pejorative. We don't like that term anymore. So, the native people of Alaska. How about we go with that one? About the life of the native people of Alaska. So, that's what we have to look forward to next. I'll see you guys next time.